Welcome to the Raven Space on YouTube. My name is Jason, and this is Raven Space News, where we talk about Baltimore Ravens news 3 days a week. I'm super excited to talk to you guys about some great stories we have today. Some housekeeping stuff first. Please subscribe to the Raven Space on YouTube for the best Baltimore Ravens content on the internet. Also, remember to like and share this video. Share it on your social media channels if you love the Baltimore Ravens, because it helps us grow and build a better community for you guys, so you have better questions and better comments on all of our shows. Also, please go into the description and go and fill out the questionnaire so you can have a chance to be on Raven Space Fan of the Week. It might be Fan of the Month, depending on how much you guys want to participate. But if you go there, we'll do something great for you guys. And you get prizes if you get chosen. So please do that. Last thing, thank you guys for watching. I'm super excited. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, go put some questions in the Patreon only mailbag on your Patreon site. Now let's get into the topics of the day. And we're going to talk about Breshad Perriman being the worst. Alex Collins got some great news we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about, according to Ray Lewis, the Ravens' biggest mistake. And then we'll do my favorite part of the show, the mailbag and the comment of the day. It's how you guys get involved in the Raven space, because we are a community. So please put your questions and your comments in the comments section below. But first, we're going to talk about Breshad Perriman has been rated by Pro Football Focus as the worst receiver in the NFL. And yes, I said it, the worst, last place. I believe they did 160. He ranked 160. And it's a sad day here for Ravens fans. It's getting to a point where Breshad Perriman is embarrassing himself, the Baltimore Ravens, and Ozzie Newsome. When we drafted this young man, we had a lot of hope. He has everything that you like on paper. I was going to say intangibles, but there's some intangibles that he does not have that we'll talk about later. But he has the size, the speed. He even has the heritage. His dad played. I mean, the jumping ability. He has everything that you want, right? But again, this is the issue when you try to create football players without the basic building blocks, right? In football, you like to say, you build your team from the inside out. Well, you build players the same way. You build players with motivation. They have to be hungry, right? That's inside. That's not how tall you are. And then you work out. And what the Ravens failed to do with Breshad Perriman is they only saw the cute things on the outside. They saw the height. They said, he's tall. They saw his speed. Ooh, he's fast. But they didn't look at the things that it's hard to see when you're looking at him, right? When you first see Breshad Perriman, like just standing around, you can't tell he can't catch, right? And I think that's what happened, because they saw the height, they saw the speed, and they said, I like this guy, right? However, we knew he could not catch in college. That was not a secret. He didn't get to the NFL and start being a bad receiver. He was always a bad receiver, right? He was a very fast guy. He was very tall, but when you need to catch the ball, he was not good at that. So we knew that. Route running, we knew he was not good at that, but we took him anyway because we thought he had the potential to be great. And right now it's looking like other players on our own roster, even like a Tim White, Quincy Adebojo, even my boy Chris Moore, looks like they're better fits for the Ravens and have higher potential. So I just don't know how long the Breshad Perriman thing is going to go on. I hope it ends sooner rather than later. I'm sorry. But I just don't know. It's getting, like I said, it's getting embarrassing for everybody on all levels. And I think that it might be time to move off this guy. You can't trade him, because who wants him? The Browns might think they can do something with him. The Browns make foolish decisions all the time. But I honestly think that this is embarrassing to all involved, and I hope this young man can bounce back and become productive for the Ravens in the future. Let me know how you guys feel about Breshad Perriman in the comments below, and please be nice. Please, kids watch this as well. So now we're going to go to the second topic of the day and some good news. for Ravens fans, Alex Collins appears as the only player of Pro Football Focus's top 100 players of 2017. And it's not good news because he was the only one. It's good news is because we knew this, right? We saw this when he first got in the game. He really had a breakout year. Pro Football Focus rated him as the top pure rushing back. So, you know, there's a different facets of the grading system. As you guys know, the big three will be rushing, receiving, and pass blocking. So of those, you know, you get different grades and then they come up to one total grade. Alex Collins was the best pure rushing running back in the NFL. Better than Le'Veon Bell. Okay, better than LaShawn McCoy. Better than Ezekiel Elliott, right? So, you know, and no shade at those other guys, or no, you know, I'm not trying to talk bad about them. It's just that our guy outperformed them according to, you know, experienced scouts. So I was super happy for him, super excited for him, because he's finally getting some burn and some respect in the league. And Ravens players really don't really get that, which does suck. Now, let's talk about the other players who I thought had a chance to make it, and I thought probably should have made it. No doubt in my mind that if Jimmy Smith was healthy the entire season, he would have made the top 100. Only because he was so great. He was a top 5 cornerback in the league. And, you know, there are certain positions where they get upgraded because they're so important. And there's the big 4 positions, right, that sometimes get overvalued. When you talk to analysts and different things like that, and overvalued, I mean that maybe he's the 60th best player in the league, but because he's at this particular position, you get a boost, right? You get a boost. You're going to be set. It's going to say that you're more important than this player just because you're at this position. Quarterback, of course, you guys is one of those, right? Like if I were doing a top 10 best players list and they told me, you know, importance matters, all 10 would be quarterbacks. 100%. Maybe you have a pass rusher or 2 in there, but you would go Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Carson Wentz, you know, down the list, right? Matt Ryan, you would go down the list. You would say all quarterbacks first because they're so important to the game. So that's one position. And another position that happens is at pass rusher, D end or outside linebacker, left tackle, blind side protection, and then cornerback. And I bring this up because I thought that Jimmy Smith was going to get that boost because he is a cornerback. And as a top 5 cornerback when he was healthy, I thought he would make it in there. But, you know, he didn't, and that was 100% due to the injury. And then after that, it gets a little bit of hit or miss. No one on offense deserves it, like not even a little bit. The closest is Ryan Jensen, I thought, but again, I can see why you would leave him off because he did struggle later in the season. I really thought that Eric Weddle had a chance. He would have been the third one I would have put in there. I probably would have put Collins in there first. Collins deserves a spot. Then I would put Jimmy Smith if he would have stayed healthy, and then Eric Weddle. You know, I thought he had a real chance. After Eric Weddle, you know, Terrell Suggs, C.J. Mosley, Brandon Williams, Michael Pierce, but they all didn't have breakout seasons like Alex Collins did. So great news for Alex Collins, and hopefully next year the Ravens have more players. Let me know how you guys feel about Alex Collins in the comments below, and you know, gush all over him if you want to. Now we're going to go to the third topic, and it's a old school topic, but we'll get it. Ray Lewis stated in an interview on Fox Sports that releasing Trent Dilfer after they won the Super Bowl was one of the biggest mistakes in Ravens history. So for you young, whippersnappers out there, Trent Dilfer was a quarterback of the 2000 Ravens. Now, he wasn't a great quarterback, right? It's not like he, led our offense to 50-point games every weekend. But the game was very different back then, and it was much harder to do that. But Ray Lewis basically said in an interview that simple and plain, that letting him go was the worst mistake because he been to a Super Bowl. He's been to a Super Bowl. He knows how to play. He knows the system. He knew everything, and he did it successfully. Ray Lewis even said in the interview that he feels that he should have 5 Super Bowl trophies. And when he says that, I can't blame him because the Ravens spent a lot of years cycling through quarterbacks. And sometimes they had good years, right? Like Steve McNair, year 1. That was a great year. Sometimes they had terrible years. For example, like Steve McNair, year 2. Kyle Bowler, year all of them. You had a couple of different quarterbacks in there. I think Banks was one of them. I mean, I remember that time, and it was a dark time to be a Ravens fan. Now, I 100% agree with Ray Lewis when he says that he should have more rings. You guys have to understand that on defense, you can argue that you had 2 of the best players and not even in Baltimore Ravens history, the 2 of the best defensive players in NFL history on the team at the same time, which is wild to think, right? You had literally Ed Reed, in my opinion, the best safety ever, Ray Lewis, in my opinion, the best middle linebacker ever, on the same team at the same time. And I mean, it's not like the defense that we have now, guys, is good, but Terrell Suggs is maybe the only person who you can call a top, player ever. And I wouldn't rank him in the top 5 of pass rushers, right? I think there's people in the league right now who I would have higher than him at pass rusher, even if he was still in his prime. Players like Von Miller, J.J. Watts, players like that. So, the defense we have now was good. The defense we had back in the day with Ray and Ed was special. I mean, like all-time greats, like every year, top 3. So, I agree with you on that one. Should the Ravens have kept Trent Dilfer? I would say, yeah. I'm a fan of, and that's why I'm not mad at Joe Flacco's. The decision that the Ravens made about that is because when you win a Super Bowl, as of today, I believe only 52 people have ever done that. Only 52 quarterbacks have ever, at least only 52 quarterbacks, right? Because, of course, Tom Brady has won it 5 times, right? So, several quarterbacks have won it, repeated times. So, less than 52 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL have won a Super Bowl. So, when you get one, hold on, try to make him better. But they chose a different path. Let me know in the comments below, do you think that was one of the worst decisions in Baltimore Ravens history? I would love to know your opinion. Now we're going to go to my favorite segment, the mailbag question of the day, brought to you guys by the Raven Space Patreon and our patrons. They are the people who make this possible. So I'm super duper excited and happy about that. If you're a Patreon, please remember to go and put your questions in for the Raven Space special mailbag. Now, this question comes from Josh, HW2, and he says, what should we do with the later rounds? 5th, 6th, 7th? So, again, I'm not going to get too, deep into the minutia because I know a lot of you guys don't care. I know Josh does, but some people do not. But I will tell you that my personal philosophy is that I always believe that once you get past round 4, everything else is depth picks, right? So you try to pick, you try to get the special guy in the first round. The second round, you get good players who can fill in about a year or 2. 3rd round, same thing. 4th round, same thing. 5th, 6th, and 7th, I'm going any place that you need depth to be successful. Cornerback, linebacker, offensive line, wide receiver. And maybe running back if you don't have any. I don't even know if I go quarterback there. I think if you really need a quarterback, you go with a quarterback in the 4th or higher. Now, you do hit on some in those later rounds, but not many. But you need players who can return. You need players who can play special teams, and that's where you find those players. And that's why those are the positions I named. Linebackers play special teams. Defensive backs play special teams. Receivers play special teams. And then, of course, I said offensive linemen because you have to have depth there because they get injured so often, and also they play special teams, especially on field goal kicks and stuff like that. So, And even you might even want to go defensive lineman. I didn't say that because the Ravens don't need that right now, I don't think. But defensive lineman, again, they play special teams, right? So I will go around there. Again, it depends on the team, but only depth picks, right? So for the Ravens specifically, as your question asks, I would go offensive line because the injury issues, and honestly, if James Hurst leaves, we don't have anyone in the back who we know is a proven starter. We have 2 rookies, I believe, who were rookies this year, but other than that, no one. So I would go offensive line in those rounds. I would even go defensive line because we need some depth there, and I would go wide receiver just to throw some things in there to see what happens. I wouldn't go cornerbacks or DBs because we have a lot of depth there already. So I wouldn't do that. So that's the mailbag, and now we're going to go to the comment of the day, and this comment comes from Antonio Gutierrez, and it's a longie. So he says, it's not that he's average, it's the fact that he's getting paid like an elite quarterback and isn't one. We need to move on from him as soon as possible. We need to get from under this contract sooner rather than later. Love you, Joe, but your time is ticking, my friend. Well, Anthony, it doesn't sound like you love him first, but I picked this because I know a lot of Ravens fans believe this. I'm of the opinion that you can't trade those big salaries for a middling player easily, right? And so I think we're stuck with him. Honestly, I think we're stuck with him. And if you cut him, you have too much dead cap space, so you can't do that. We're stuck with him until his contract is over. Now, do I draft a quarterback next year? I might. 3rd round, 4th round, I might draft a quarterback. I might draft a quarterback in the 3rd and a quarterback maybe in the 5th, right? Just I would do what the Patriots do. I'm gonna say it like that. I would do what the Patriots do. Be ready. I would always be ready. And with him getting older and honestly becoming less productive, I think you have to have that as a backup plan. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please subscribe to the Ravens Space on YouTube for the best Baltimore Ravens content on the internet. Thank you guys so much, and go Ravens.